All right, everybody. Welcome back into another One Piece video. Today, we're here to host Chapter 1165's post-game show. That is right. If you are new here, how this works is that I like to go through the comment section of the previous videos and just see what everybody's talking about. What are the big observations? What are the takeaways? We're here for all of that. So, with that being said, let's get right into it, right into the mix with the top comments, which say, I don't get why you are surprised that Graham is a captain of his own crew. It's been stated multiple times that the Rocks Pirates and Roger Pirates aren't the only crews to turn up on the island. Multiple crews left Hachinosu to save Shaki than just Rocks. I agree. Granted, I felt like most of the people who left Hachinosu were simply just a part of the Rocks Pirates. I was like, oh yeah, like they're on his island. Surely they're under his flag, right? It's kind of like Blackbeard at Hachinosu. I'm assuming most of the pirates there work for Blackbeard. And then, of course, with the more pirate crews we introduce into God Valley, it makes me wonder if they ever spread rumors about God Valley afterwards. Like, hey, maybe Graham, for example, he's like, hey, I saw this black monster blob thingy-mabob. By the way, Rocks, he had like these demon wings and Whitebeard fought him. Like, I just feel like there'd be more stories in circulation because of pirates like Graham. And not just that, but Graham is the first outside captain that we're hearing about, right? We're not seeing like other Jolly Rogers off the coast. We're not seeing like, other pirates we know of other than Graham here. So it's like, I think I was taken aback by that. And it's just because like he is the first, right? The first is always really surprising. It's like virginity. The first is always something special. And I think that's where Graham is for me right now. I don't mind it. I actually like the tie-in. Marco Polo, come on guys, that's amazing. But aside from that, it's like, wait, Polo nowadays, though, does he talk about God Valley at all, or is he dead? Dead men tell no tales? I don't know. Next comment, they say, Roger thrusting multiple times into Rocks' body. Dude, it is on purpose at this point. Okay, the spoiler said this, not me. I do make random innuendos at times on purpose, but this was a genuine accident. I did not know, man. The spoiler guy did this, not me. I'm not the leaker. Oda, what's on a bench with no weight? A barbell. Wait a minute. Barbells sometimes do weigh 45 pounds at bare minimum, right? Barbell, where the hell are you, buddy? Sai is the biggest Holy Knights fan. If there are 10 Holy Knight stands, Sai is one of them. If there's one stand, Sai is there. If there's zero, Sai has retired. Dude, it's so foul. What Oda has been doing to the Holy Knights, it's gotta be a hate crime, right? Oda must not like these guys so much because they're despicable that he's just not even including them in the story. Bro, where are they? I will never forget Oda talking about Garling. Oda took a month-long break last year, and in place of it, he said, hey guys, I feel bad. I'm on vacation. Let me drop 10 answers. 10 answers to popular questions. One question was about Garling. Hey, Oda, Garling was at God Valley with Roger and Garp and Rocks. Is he strong? Oda said, yeah, don't worry. Garling is strong. Brother, I do not see it. Maybe. My hope is that next chapter he will do something. When Garp cannot move, that is when my guy will strike. My goat can only fight people who are either women, children, men who can't fight, or just pedestrians. My guy. I gotta die on that hill, man. It's one of those things where like the agenda is so seeped into me, I gotta root for him no matter what. It's like me and Bellamy. I wasn't making YouTube videos back in the day, but I was rooting for Bellamy. Dude, Bellamy at Dressrosa, bounty of 150 million. I said, yo, here we go. Bellamy's gonna go crazy in a Luffy rematch. Bellamy got kicked over by Dellinger, brother. That was a tough week for me, man. That was a tough week. The Holy Knights and the rest of the Rocks Pirates are having a picnic together in irrelevance at this point. I'm not gonna lie. First up, I don't think the Rocks Pirates are irrelevant, but I'm shocked that none of them died. Remember that? Like, coming into God Valley, the Thriller Bark is God Valley theory, that went crazy. And I think people are still jumping aboard that theory as we speak. But one of the main selling points for that theory is that Moria had a lot of dead Rocks Pirate members. Gil Bastar, one of them. Gonzui, one of them. Potentially Barbell if he's the guy wearing a mask. We don't know that for sure. Another one. Captain John, of course, Captain John died off the island, but, you know, here we go. Bring him back to God Valley, you know, bring him back to, like, his hellscape, essentially. But here we have it, man. These guys are actually leaving. Like, Gonzui is leaving with Stussy and Gil Bastar. You know, Silverax making it out A-okay. Like, nobody really died from the Rocks Pirates side. So I am really curious. Granted, they're not off the island yet. So again, it goes back to the Garling Coat, but maybe they try to leave and somebody stops them. Like the Marines like start blockading the island and they blow it up or something. Maybe the Holy Knights do attack them because we haven't seen them lately. I don't know. I do think though that next chapter's spoilers will be insane. I just really hope we get something about these guys. You know, my agenda for the Holy Knights and, you know, losers in general aside, I feel like we need like some sort of substantial update just to see like what the hell's happening with Kyowo, right? We know like some of these guys are already dead or like where they ended up now, but Kyowo, for example, he's a genuine question mark. Oda introduced Kyowo, but where's he going with him? Right? And it's always these small side characters that end up mattering the most. A great example is Caribou. When Caribou first got introduced, post-time skip, a lot of people thought he was just a joke, a gag. And then the joke kept on running, and now Caribou is potentially joining Blackbeard's crew with ancient weapon knowledge 500 to 600 chapters later. So yeah, you know, when I talk about these like loser side characters, part of me is joking. But another part's like, wait a minute, like, could they actually mean something for the future of the story? Genuinely. And that's why, like, bringing up Barbell, right? Just, I don't know, dude. Is it a coincidence that the missing poneglyph is from Fishman Island? And Barbell is a giant question mark? I don't know. Even if Sai is a fan of loser characters, he still didn't mention Bogard. Please become a Bogardian, Sai. No. You know, I will say this. As a guy that loves losers, I feel like I'm also the guy that you want on your side. Because I'll cope for your character to hell and back. I'll cope for these losers like Roshio, Barbell, and Bellamy till the cows come home. But I will never, ever become a Bogard fan. I just can't. He's just so lame in my eyes, dude. Like, he has had years to show out. And it's just nothing. Like, for example, if Barbell literally introduced in like 2005 and he still hasn't done anything, I'd probably give up on him too. But that's the difference there, right? Bogard is an old staple that just has never shown out. His name is apparently not even canon. Barbell at least was introduced this year, right? There's still room to cope. So sadly, brother, I'm not joining the Bogardian agenda. What really sealed the deal for me for Bogard being fodder, not fodder, but ignored, is Hachinosu. Avalo Pizarro coming down with the hand. Bogard is on the ship. All the Marines are saying, oh, we're gonna die. And then Kobe has to do something. Brother, Bogart's right there. You're telling me he cannot chop off Avalo Pizarro's hand? Yeah, it's big, but Bogard has been with Garp for maybe over 40 years? What? He can't do that? And then you got Shiryu over here stabbing Garp. Dude, where's Bogard? What? He's not even on the island. Yeah, that's when I stopped truly even considering being a Bogard fan. It's just too much cope for me. I hope he gets something for the fans of him out there, but I just can't do it, man. I can't do it. Barbell went for a swim, don't worry about it. Barbell's bounty is $7.99 with a side of fries and tartar sauce. I guess we're finally gonna see a Loki flashback that was intended before Rocks came in and stole it. Funny enough, I think there is a chance that this flashback's gonna get hijacked again. We gotta remember, Shanks plays a semi-pivotal role in this flashback. King Harold does meet Shanks at the Holy Land. Scopper mentioned that, oh, me and Shanks showed up that day to the throne room and what we saw was crazy. We're gonna get Shanks' POV. I think there is not a 0% chance that this flashback gets hijacked. Just like how Rocks got introduced and it's all about him, I think we could genuinely see Shanks lore here. Which isn't insane. I think a lot of people thought that we were gonna get Shanks lore in Elbaf, and this could be it. And we gotta remember, Shanks is one of the main reasons why Luffy is even listening in right now. Right? Scopper said, oh yeah, by the way, Shanks is here. And then Luffy's like, wait a minute, Shanks! Hey, Zoro, Sanji, go upstairs. I want to listen in. I think it could get hijacked again. I'm gonna be so serious, man. Which would kind of be sad, because that would mean that we wouldn't see the Straw Hats for even longer. But let's be real. At some point, we're gonna have to get these flashbacks anyways. So why not now? Why not now? Morge is gonna crash out when he finds out that Roger didn't have a Haki bloom. Was that like one of his theories? Roger having a Haki bloom? I don't think that's bad. But I mean, it feels like Roger's already at the end game. I'm sure he gets stronger, but Roger is already here, you know, coding things with advanced conquerors Haki. You know, Roger's even talking about something called mass, and it's like, okay, is mass important? Is that like just extra backbone? We don't know. You could say that Roger had a mass bloom, which sounds odd, but it happened. It definitely happened. Sounds like Polo was Whitebeard's Barto. I would say a more acceptable Barto. At least Polo doesn't have like the going Whitebeard outside, because that'd be cursed. That would be cursed. Actually, maybe Polo's the one who had like the original Moby Dick ship. Would that be crazy? Yeah, I mean, at some point, Whitebeard gets fascinated with Moby Dick and whales. Maybe Polo started that. Maybe. I mean, Moby Dick, that was Ishmael, right? Man, if his middle name was like Ishmael, maybe that could work. I don't know. Imu is 100% going to be based off of Emperor Nero. His backstory will involve matricide, burning religious folk, and kicking his love so many times she gives up the ghost, Lily. I like that. I've seen theories about Imu being Emperor Nero before. I don't know where this started, but I do enjoy it. I don't know. Personally, I hope he starts more as a good guy and then becomes Emperor Nero, but we'll see. I do think, at least in my personal headcanon. By the way, RedTube, shoutouts, man. Pornside, let's go! Jack! I think Imu will be a great character. I don't think he's going to be overtly evil, but like I said, that's just my own headcanon. This says Morge. Did Morge go crazy on the Roger Haki bloom thing? Roger's Haki explosion will send Imu home. Imu, LOL, no, I'm getting on a ship. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, hey, even I was shocked that Imu simply hopped on a ship. Like, that looks so goofy, right? Everybody's fighting high extreme diff, and then Imu literally on a ship, arms folded, staring at the island wide-eyed. Like, come on. Who would have thought that would happen, right? Come on. So I want to give Morge some leeway there. But then again, I didn't watch the theory video, so I don't know what he exactly said. If I had to guess what this is, I'm assuming it has to do with divine departure, like off rip, because I've seen that theory before, right? Divine departure sends the divine, a godlike being like Imu, home. I think that'd be decent, but a solid rebuttal to that would be that Roger already used divine departure earlier on against Imu, and Imu tanked it and didn't really care at all. Man, the way Imu's moving, it seems like he just wants to go home. He's like, yeah, I'm done with God Valley. I'm not having fun anymore. Dang. Over 10 minutes for the Barbell name drop in this video. Really, really impressive restraint by our guy, Sai. I'm trying, dude. I try my best not to mention Barbell. I'm not gonna lie. It's because people are saying, oh, Sai, I'm so sick of Barbell. It's the new Moria. No, it's the new Bellamy. Guys, he's relevant, though. Come on, man. But because of that, though, I am trying to, tame down the Barbell talk. But the minute he shows out, though, better believe I'm bringing it up again. I think he forgot there are a lot of pirate crews on the island. It makes sense. Polo is a captain with the ship. Yes, it does make sense, but I'm just surprised, man. Like, he's the first one. Polo, the first named pirate captain outside of the Rocks Pirates. If we saw 5 more, the Whitebeard commanders, when they all showed up on the side, then I'd at least be like, oh, okay, we saw these guys before. They were hyped up a little bit. But Polo, man, he just popped out of nowhere. Garp doesn't need Gabon or Rayleigh. Bogard has been watching them fight in case they couldn't beat Rocks. Yeah. Bogard is up on the cliff aura farming saying, oh, if Garp needs me, I guess I'll step in. Nah, dude, Bogard, what is he doing? I remember back when we first got God Valley, mentioned, a lot of people genuinely, not even as a joke, people genuinely thought that we would get Rayleigh versus Bogard, or Bogard versus Whitebeard or Shiki. And I like those theories because, I don't hate Bogard. I don't. Not my favorite character, but I wish him the best. And I was like, you know what? If Oda wanted to show off Bogard feats, it would be here. And it doesn't have to be a chapter of Bogard versus everybody. No. One panel is all he really needed. A page at max. Brother, Gonzui and Captain John got that. Bogard, no. I don't know what's going on. And what's even funnier, I don't know if you guys watched the One Piece live action. Bogard was a semi-major character. Garp didn't go anywhere without Bogard. Bogard legitimately has more lines and screen time in the live action than in the manga. And the thing with the live action, right? Oda has a part to play in it. He was talking to the directors and he helped with the casting. So he knows that they really push for Bogard. And even then, Oda said, nah, dude, I'm good. You know, live action's already got him. Wiping his hands clean, brother. Oh my God. Removing your clothes in battle instantly changes, charges your super meter. I once ripped off my cloak and instantly invented a throw I called Meteor Hammer. That's cool. I feel like this is a canon event for a guy, right? A canon event for every guy out there. It's gonna happen one day. You're just gonna rip your shirt for no reason, whether it's in rage, you're ore farming, or if you're just super drunk. You gotta do it at least once. Hopefully though, you just don't do it on expensive clothing, because that would kind of suck. Personally, have I ripped my clothes before? I ripped a wife beater, but you know, you buy those in like 10 packs, so it's kind of like whatever. But yeah, you gotta rip them off at least once. Oda, going to give us one final panel of Barbell in the corner and leave a note. Dear Sai, you're welcome, now shut up. I can only hope and pray. The thing is, too, is that the leakers, right? Because, you know, I don't do spoilers, you know, I don't have like the leak pages or anything, but the leakers, even if Barbell were to show up, I don't even think that they'd add this in as a plot point. They would honestly ignore Barbell being in the chapter, which is so sad. Please, Sai, promise me you'd love and respect Gilbestar the same you love him currently if he's confirmed to be a member of the Forearm tribe. No. I think forearms are just kind of nasty in general. Like, I'm not racist. I just don't like things that don't look aesthetically pleasing. And I do think forearms do not work if you're a person. But if you're a monster like Goro out of Mortal Kombat, I think it's very acceptable. Forearms, yeah, dude, go for it. Because you're a monster. But if you're trying to have forearms as a human, like as a like if I had forearms right now, popping out of my back, it's kind of gross. It really is for me. It's like how some people don't like, you know, long looking aliens or wendigos or something like that. I got the same thing, man. If it's too odd, I can't F with it, dude. And forearms, nah, no. Which, this is interesting, right? Gilbestar having the Horohoro no Mi, yet also still having forearms outside of Thriller Bark. Maybe he is Forearm Tribe. It's either that, or I heard a really good theory that, I got this from the comment section. I wish I had the comment like pulled up right here. But somebody said that because Perona, when she uses the Horohoro no Mi, she projects herself, right? She becomes a ghost. She could alter her size and shape. People are saying Gilbestar is doing the same thing, and that's why you see him with 4 arms. That's not the real Gilbestar. That's simply the ghost Gilbestar. And he's out there shooting ghost bullets, which explode, which I think is amazing, actually. I think that's a really good idea. And that's a way for Oda to, like, you know, make this all make sense. Anyone else feel like Loki's comment of destroying the world has a whole new meaning? Maybe it's not destroying the actual world, but taking down Imu and carrying the will of Davy-Zebek even more than Blackbeard. Yes, I do like this idea a lot. Granted, I don't know if he would correlate the world to Imu, but then again, you know, Rox did talk about wanting to take over the world, including the world government, so that would either way put Imu in Loki's line of sight. So yeah, I do think this could work. And of course, we don't know what events take place after God Valley. For all we know, Eris, who knows about Rox's plan to fight Imu, comes to Elbaf and she spills the beans, which I think makes a lot of sense. Rox is potentially dead, right? In her mind, because she doesn't see what happens. So maybe King Harold looks for Eris. He finds her and he's like, hey, like, I'm a good friend of your husband. You've probably heard of me. And Eris is like, oh yeah, King Harold, you're his best friend. What happened to my husband? King Harold is like, oh, Rox is dead. Do you want to come to Elbaf for a little bit? And then maybe Loki's even there. And that is when Loki could hear about Rox's plan to beat Imu. I do not think that it's weird if Loki knows a lot about the WG. And then, of course, his dad exists, right? His dad does join the world government to an extent. They work hand in hand for a little bit. So Loki knowing about Imu, about the world, I do not think is far-fetched. Sai, we need to have a discussion about these titles, man. Here's the thing. For spoiler videos, I try not to just say, oh, you know, God Valley is over. Well, sometimes I do. I don't say like the big thing, like, oh, Rox is defeated, or, ooh, you know, Horo no Mi confirmed, or, they combined attack and defeated Rox and they used mass. So I have to beat around the bush. I try my best, at least what's within my capabilities, to not spoil people just scrolling YouTube. So a lot of the titles on this channel are pretty generic. So yeah, you know, sometimes I just gotta say, hey man, Oda gave it to us. Oda gave it to us real good, and real good he did. You know, this chapter was phenomenal. You know, hands down, minus the lack of Barbell. Pretty good. Pretty good. Thank you, Oda. Thank you for giving it to us. Side, don't worry, Barbell will show up when something catches on fire. No, no, not the Fishman staple. Shout out to the Flame Swordsman. It's a good card, especially the new ones. Now the titles. The Goat Dragon is a true leader, and this carries weight because I am somebody that doesn't really like Monkey D. Dragon. I thought he looked really good in this chapter. I liked that he stood his ground and fought his captain, or at least a higher up, right? I think that is a big W. And one thing I didn't notice, and Brago, BDA Law, pointed this out to me, Garp also stood up for the slaves here. Because when Garp is talking to the Marines, he says, hey, bring all living residents on board the ship and get out of there. So Garp and Dragon both working to protect civilians. I think that's great. I think that is exactly what we expected from both of them. And I am curious to see if they've been keeping in touch over all these years. I wouldn't be shocked. You know, I wouldn't be shocked if Dragon and Garp literally just talk to each other on the side. Like maybe every now and then Garp is like, hey, son, that revolutionary army, you need help? Are you good over there? And then Dragon's like, I'm fine, Dad. Just keep on doing your thing. Keep on protecting regular Marines. Because I wonder, right? Dragon's perspective on the everyday Marine, I wonder what it's like. Of course, I bet there's some Marines that he just doesn't get along with, like maybe a Kainu. But I also think Dragon might be in the same boat, where he wants to mainly just take down the WG and not the Marines themselves. But we'll see about that one. This says, in the short story Wanted, Gil Bastar, gunslinger, is haunted by the ghost of a man he killed. And you can actually see the ghost. The ghost represents Gil's guilt and his sense of moral burden. Safe to say, he was the previous user of Purrazell Fruit. Fantastic tie-in by Oda. I love it. Yeah, I went back and I read Wanted. This was great. I love the tie-in. It makes sense. And I hope Oda's other side stories do get fleshed out some more. And he kind of has been doing that, right? Ryuma lately got his Netflix adaptation. Gil Bastar, of course, came back in. Magic also came back in from the OG Romance Dawn with Imu. And another tie-in from his OG series would be Shamrock and Shanks, because in one of Oda's original ideas for One Piece, Shanks was the leader of a knight army. And here we have it. You know, Shamrock, Garling, they are the leaders of the God Knights. So I think Oda is paying homage to his original stories here, and I love that. I love that. It's kind of like, you know, you're like a movie maker, and you're like, oh man, now that I've made it, what movie should I make? Oh yeah, maybe that story I had when I was a kid. Maybe I'll flesh it out a little bit more. I think that's fun. Last one. Did Oda just forget about Gloriosa? Funny enough, Gloriosa was in this chapter, but the spoilers simply didn't mention her. And that's what I said about Barbell, right? If Barbell showed up next chapter, I don't even know if the leakers would mention him because they just do not care about him. But yeah, Gloriosa ended up leaving with the Roger Pirates. So big W. I'm happy for her, right? Because she originally left the Kuja Pirates to go after Roger. So seeing that she's finally on board their ship, it's a feel-good moment. But I don't think it's gonna last for long, which is really sad. Because when Roger, you know, talks to Whitebeard, fights Whitebeard, goes to Laughtail, sees Odin, Gloriosa isn't there. So what does Roger do? Does he say, oh, Gloriosa, you got no home? Your captain's dead? No home base anymore? You can't go back to Kuja? You know what? Have fun on Subodi, because that's where they left her, right? We know that Gloriosa found the Hancock sisters at Subodi Archipelago, and, you know, Shaki later goes there too. So it kind of seems like Roger just dumps her on an island. That's foul. That is foul. Roger dumps Gloriosa off, and yet he keeps baby Shanks? Bro, what? I'd be so mad. Maybe, like, you know, Roger will have a little bit more class than that, but at the end of the day, he's a pirate. But then again, Shaki. Do we just drop Shaki off too? Maybe they go together. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Because Shaki doesn't go back to Hachinosu, right? Well, maybe she does. Because they know about Wang Ji now. I wouldn't be shocked if after God Valley, the Roger Pirates go to Hachinosu and beat the hell out of Wang Ji. Would that be fun? I think so. This could even be a parallel to Subodi. Because at Subodi, Kami got kidnapped, and nobody really cared about who kidnapped her, except for Duval. And then Duval said, hey guys, 1 minute, let me just do something real quick. And then boom, 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 they beat up Peterman because he kidnapped Kami. Maybe it's just like a one-panel thing. I think that'd be cool, right? Like, hey, before we drop Shaki off, let's go fight Wang Ji. And then it's just one panel and Wang Ji's on the ground. I think it'd be awesome, actually. Yeah, no, I need that. I think Wang Ji needs to get his due beating pretty soon. I'm glad that Blackbeard, Law, and Kobe take him down later, but we can't let him out for 38 years, right? We can't just let him roam free, scot-free. Yeah. Run through Hachinosu, one panel, he's done. But with that being said, though, guys, like I said, shorter video this time around. Just wanted to hang out for a little bit. But yes, let me know what all your thoughts are for 1166, all these comments, and your thoughts about the chapter now that it's been about a week since it has released. I really freaking appreciate you guys for stopping by and spending your time here. Catch you guys later, alligators. Wow, that's fucking... Later alligator, huh? In 2025? That's crazy. Yeah, you guys sleep well.